So anxiety is those worries, those fears, those doubts, and those uncomfortable sensations that can come up when you think about future events, when you're anticipating things that are about to happen. And it can range in severity, so it can be something that's quite normal and that everyone experiences from time to time, and on a scale be gradually worse till it gets to the point where it is quite overwhelming and debilitating and affects a large part of a person's life. It is a normal emotion, and this can be quite a debatable area, but if you like to think of it like a scale, and when you get past a certain point on that scale, that's when you need the specialised care that is available for people who are experiencing anxiety frequently. It's just persistent. Sometimes it might be there just for no reason at all, and for that reason, it's helpful to be able to diagnose or classify anxiety as being a little bit too much or as past a certain point, and could be called a mental illness or a mental disorder, even though in milder forms, yes, it is a very normal emotion. When people are experiencing it past that certain point, it is also a very real illness and can be really hard to deal with. So yeah, there is lots of different types of anxiety, and in sport we're generally talking about performance anxiety, which I guess could be a kind of phobia or even a social anxiety, because a lot of it is based around the fear of what other people would think or being judged negatively by others, which is a very social type of anxiety. The root of this anxiety often is triggered by things like, like I mentioned, the fear of judgment of others, but also uncertainty of what might happen, of the potential for, results to go either way. There's also the fear of injury or death in some sports. There's fear of being isolated, being alone, not belonging to a group or team as a result of your failures. So when anxiety can become a bit of a problem in sport is when it becomes a distraction for you. So a lot of your focus, a lot of your energy, a lot of your thinking is all around the anxiety itself, and it also interferes or stops you being able to focus on the important parts of the sport that you need to focus on, of the task that you're doing. So the anxiety is taking away your ability to focus on what you need to. The other way that anxiety can affect performance is for it actually to make you focus too much. So you focus too much on executing a task which might actually be already well trained, already automatic, already something that you can do pretty well, but then you tend to overthink about it. There's that paralysis by analysis, that sort of self-focus about what you're doing rather than trusting your skills and letting your body express itself. Well, I'd often say to people, look, fixing anxiety is the wrong approach. Remembering that it is a normal emotion, it is a normal part of human experience. And, you can fix it. You can fix it by just not doing the thing that makes you anxious. But then ultimately you're probably not going to have a meaningful life because you're not probably doing something that's as important to you. So if you make fixing it the goal, then you can be prone to avoiding anxiety, because avoidance is a fix. So we don't want to focus on avoiding our anxiety, and we don't want to focus necessarily on fixing it or curing ourselves, even though there are a lot of people out there that will sell you that dream, because we all want to be rid of uncomfortable emotions. That would be amazing, and you could make a lot of money selling that. But unfortunately, just like with your physical fitness, real change takes a little bit of time. You have to work through things, and often it takes a little bit of hard work as well. And I think the same is true for working through your anxiety. The positive news is there is ways that you can get through your anxiety, and you can minimize it so that it's not as bad and not as debilitating. But also remember, there's that acceptance that, in sport there is generally going to be some nerves. Often that's perfectly acceptable and perfectly understandable experience, and often it can actually help you. It can help you perform, it can help you get into that state of flow. So don't be afraid of those. You'd be a little bit of a psychopath if you didn't have those nerves. So welcome them along as true human experience, and that you are, you're having a normal experience in this moment. It's like confidence is great. We all want to be confident. A lot of great stuff happens when we're confident. But if you're going to ask yourself the question, oh, am I feeling confident today? And then you pick up on some nerves and you go, man, I'm not. Then you've kind of already created this barrier that you can't, in your head, you're not going to perform, or you're not going to be able to do the things that are required of you until this confidence feeling comes up, until this feeling is there. Whereas if you look at it from that courageous perspective and you ask yourself a different question, am I feeling courageous today? Then, or am I going to be courageous today? Then you can do that. The more anxiety, the more nerves that are there, you can be successful at that, and you can go forward and do that. And having that mindset actually will change the way your brain's working, from a place of like, what could hurt me? What could go wrong? Am I feeling confident so that doesn't go wrong? Which is a kind of a fear-based approach to a more of a courageous-based approach, which is like, what could I achieve? What's the opportunities? What's the possibilities for me right now? And we just don't want to have that approach where we're standing at the start line in our sport or in our life saying things are going to go well as soon as I've got that confidence. As soon as I get rid of this anxiety, then life will start, or my performance will take care of itself once that's gone. Because if we've got that approach, it's kind of a bit of a trap, because the way to get through that and get past that is ironically throwing yourself all into it, being courageous and putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, being open to failure and willing to experience the difficult emotions that come up in sport and in life. So in summary, generally, to be able to work through your anxiety, you need to have a little bit of courage and be able to expose yourself to some fears. There is some things that we can do around how we manage our thoughts, how we manage those worries, and also how we manage those physical symptoms. There is important things that we can do with our breathing, not so much as a way to get to a state of pure relaxation, but as a way to focus and not be completely focused on ourselves or our anxiety when we need to go out and perform a task.